Hey kids, do you like pro wrestling? Not sure I did this week, but we like pro wrestling too. This week in the news, meh. We're going to talk about that Knox Pro Wrestling because there's not much else to talk about. In the land of in the lazy river of wrestling criticism, Clash in Paris preview, and then the aftermath of Forbidden Door, and we forgot to preview Heat Wave, but it was there. It was a show, and it was on Sunday. And in Vader Club, it's been a
Boy,
decade.
that really says a lot about where things are right now.
It does, doesn't it? It's been a decade since Bayley versus Sasha in Brooklyn. Let's do a little bit of a retrospective, shall we? I am Jeff Hawkins. He is Chris Novembrino.
Could you imagine not doing a preview going into Brooklyn? Like forgetting to do a preview 10 years ago for the NXT live event in Brooklyn.
Right, because that was the thing that also helped get the show on the map was the excitement around NXT, and we were one of the few shows covering that and then doing live shows after the takeovers because even the voices of wrestling guys were just like jealous that we were going live after takeovers and wanting to get in on the action and stuff like that. It was, that was. Let me tell you, kids, about the golden age of NXT.
Could you imagine Rich and Joe wanting to crash this show now?
No, never. Don't talk enough Japanese wrestling for them or something like that. Oh, yeah, and the more things change, the more they stay the same because what the hell has happened to Bayley? What are we doing? We'll talk about that later, but yes, because it's really the only thing that's big in the news, unless you wanted to talk about labor disputes at the former ECW arena, which I have no interest in whatsoever, Chris.
I support all unionization efforts nationwide. That is my general take.
Knox Pro Wrestling, which was a WWE ID promotion until this week. It was run by Rikishi, the father of the Usos and Solo Sikoa. Had a bit of an incident. TJ Mana, who works with the promotion, brought Raja Jackson, the son of Rampage Jackson, the former UFC fighter. He streams live on Kick, and he brought him to the show. So before the show
Big week for Kick.
So before the show in the back, Psycho Stu, one of the wrestlers there, for some reason, thought this was all a work because he was a worker because cameras were around. And so he crushes a beer can on his head, or he hits him with a beer can. So,
well, I mean, like, in fairness to Psycho Stu, especially like his psychology in this moment, because I've rewatched this, like, Stu thinks, okay, there's a bunch of cameras around. I guess we're doing some sort of angle or something. I know Mana. He's got Raja Jackson. Rampage has done some stuff. Like he wasn't connecting all the dots here, but I see how he got to this moment. And then when Raja Jackson gets in his face, the stuff that he says kind of sounds like a work, right? Like, I don't know who the F you are, blah, 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 blah. And like Stu goes, you don't know who the F I am. I'm Psycho Stu. I get how he misread the social cues here. I really do.
I think it was also partly rib culture in wrestling. Ha ha ha, I'm going to do this for your camera or whatever. I don't know if he thought it was part of the show or not, but maybe. But Jackson got mad, pulled away. Others told Smith that Jackson wasn't a worker, and he immediately went to apologize and shake hands, but Jackson wasn't accepting it. Later, Jackson apparently calmed down, and at least twice the two talked. Smith apologized, and they did shake hands. Others within the promotion, seeing that the beer can thing streamed live, decided they should turn it into an angle.
This is the one piece of footage I wish we had. I really wish we could have heard the words exchanged between Jackson and Stu during the multiple apologies by Stu. I'm interested to know how much Stu, like how much context Stu gave about the lack of context he had and everything in there. Like, yo, sorry, man. I'm so effing sorry. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought this was a work. I didn't think you were a normie doing a live stream backstage at the wrestling show, because like we don't normally. I want to know what Stu said right here, just because I want to know how much that colors what Jackson knew, which was plenty, but I want to know if it was plenty or like an ass load, like he knew everything and still proceeded.
Jackson was told by Mana that they were doing an angle and he could get a receipt. There's mistake number 2. In normal, then Dave explains what a receipt is. Well, here's what happened. There's a 3-way match going on. Jackson said he was going to come out in the angle throwing real punches until he was pulled off. As Dave opines, that was probably a good idea at that point not to do the angle. I.e., nobody was actually watching this stream to see what he was saying.
Dave! Jesus.
So,
the angle. Like
a 3-way.
Calling it an angle is some sort of apologia. That's gross.
So a 3-way match was going on involving Stu. Jackson comes out of the crowd, picks Stu up with a double leg, slams him on the mat hard, and then threw 22 punches in less than 13 seconds on him.
A hell of an angle.
See, I'm trying to parse the facts between Dave's editorializing here, and here's where
no, Dave needs to be mocked mercilessly for this reportage.
Oh no, it's even worse because he goes
heavy emphasis on the rape.
No, if he wasn't knocked out by the slam, certainly he was by the first punch. Oh, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. But yes, he was totally motionless. Another wrestler, Doug the Epic Mallow, who was somewhat alerted about to pay attention in case something happens as he's the shooter of the group, did get in the ring. He managed to get Jackson away from Smith. Jackson tried to take Mallow down. Mallow was able to block him. Jackson punched Mallow in the eye, busting his eye, and Mallow punched back. Others got in and managed to push him in the corner. But as crazy as that sounds, with Smith apparently unconscious, this is Dave's words, the warped show must go on mentality saw one of the other wrestlers in the match cover Stu, and the ref counted 3.
Truly, the dumpster fire moment of like and for our grand finale, the aristocrats.
Eventually, as he laid there motionless, the fans were told to leave and the show was shut down. There were children watching and crying. The beating were so bad, rumors started that Smith had died, but he was rushed to the hospital and hurt badly and was in critical condition, but it was not life-threatening. The video became gigantic. WWE did not issue a statement about, but obviously canceled all affiliations with the promotion. There was no choice in the matter. I think the other problem here, and this
wait. There was no choice in the matter. Frames it like who would have just made the decision? Was Knox Pro going to be given the option to continue the partnership?
Well, you got to understand all the partnerships are basically gyms owned by ex-WWE guys.
No, I know, but like, yeah, just the phrasing of there was no choice in the matter.
I get it.
So it's a bizarre deployment of the passive voice here. One of the least problems in this article, but worth observing.
I didn't read verbatim all of the article, but rib culture I don't like. I never got being cruel for it, but then I don't get receipt culture either. Like, I understand, like, if somebody's accidentally hits you, that's part of stage combat, and you learn to do better by training and stuff like that. You don't have a sword fight, and if you actually get hit, go, oh, you can cut me later. I've just never understood you at some random time in the future when we're having a match.
That's my problem.
You can potato me.
Mid-match potato for potato, I've got no problem for. What I have a problem for is essentially receipt culture in very extraordinary circumstances. Like, I mean, even if let's say someone does, going back to the Attitude Era, a chair shot during a mic spot, right? You're talking blah blah blah, get hit with the chair, it's too hard. You get them the next time. I get the delayed receipt there. I someone potatoes you in the match, settle it during the match. Like work it into the, like I don't think it should linger on and on and on.
Yeah, it's usually in the usually potatoes, from what I know at least, are usually not early. They're late when the adrenaline's up and you're rushing to the finish, and when the person who's weakened shouldn't be fighting back. So that's why you do it later. I just am like, just if the guy apologizes or the woman apologizes, shake hands, buy them dinner, move on.
Yeah, I was just saying there's other ways.
If the person doesn't apologize, well then by all means get a receipt.
So now I think we need to talk about the third character in this story who would prefer to not be talked about, was trying to not talk, and then realized that he's part of this story and he needs to come out and talk, and he's been making all these public appearances which have made him come off as the most unsympathetic asshole on the planet. This is, of course, Mr. AJ Mana, who brought Raja Jackson to the show. And then after Jackson appeared to be like his escort backstage at this show. So
that's what they
right. He's there as his guest. So Jackson and Stu had buried this. Then AJ decides, and this is also on tape, to encourage this receipt thing and doesn't explain what a receipt is. And actually, on that video, it got enough context clues from Jackson to understand that maybe Jackson didn't understand what a receipt was. And there's further evidence of this, important circumstantial evidence, which is Mr. Marshmallow, or whatever that wrestler's name is, the big guy the shooter.
Mallow.
Mallow?
Mallow,
yes,
M-A-L-O, or it might be Malo. Doug Malo.
Doug Malo. Okay. Not Mr. Marshmallow. Mallow. They told him to be standing by in case this went pear-shaped, which suggests to me that enough people thought that this was going to go pear-shaped that they decided to have an insurance policy set up, which means, from a level of discretion, there's a lot of people who have additional pieces of evidence or observations that led them to believe that an insurance policy was extremely necessary if they were even going to press ahead with this angle. AJ Mana, for his part, never, once he saw Jackson's headspace, and in that video clip, Jackson seems like a frothing animal. This is not a man I would be encouraging to go get a receipt. I think he might be facing legal issues himself. Obviously, I think Jackson's going to. How that plays out, what gets settled, what gets litigated, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? That's going to be up to the lawyers. I think AJ Mana needs to go and get himself some lawyers, or needs to be hitting up his buddy Raja Jackson and seeing if he can sidle up on this defense.
I didn't watch the video, I'll admit, so I can't speak on it. I just, my general take was stupid met evil, and that's an unfortunate circumstance.
Which video? When you say you didn't like, there's like
I didn't watch any of this stuff.
Oh, okay. Here, all I will say then, as since you haven't watched it, is basically whenever I'm watching this stuff now, we've talked about so many court things and so many things where we would like to see it get litigated and reckoned, even to move it out of a court context, just morally reckoned with one way, but there's maybe not enough evidence or whatever to make that happen in a court of law. I think these two guys have a lot of problems with how much of this was caught on video, and that this is a bit of a prosecutor's feast in terms of demonstrating mens rea and premeditation, which are usually the two hardest thresholds to demonstrate legally in incidences like this. It's tough to prove mens rea. It's tough to prove premeditation. And I think that the prosecution probably has enough meat on the bones on these videos to do that.
I'm going to say one of these people is going to have a really good attorney and the other isn't. And that's going to be, that's where you're going to see the real scales of justice, kids.
Well, and that also might create might also create problems for the guy with the good attorneys. You know, that's what I'm saying is Mr. Bad Attorneys has a lot of damning information here. And again, with as much videographic evidence, it's already there. All the prosecution needs to do is split this pair up, and Jackson's got a big problem on his hands.
The only other news item I had, and you guys will know this if you've been watching SmackDown by the time this show gets released, Sami Zayn, your new U.S. champion, won it in France, which just makes no sense. The Intercontinental title you can defend in France. U.S. title you should not be defending in other countries other than America, but that's me. I'm built different. It was kind of mid. I assume it's just going to get hot shot back to... I assume this is a Quebec thing and to do it in France to make the fans happy, and then eventually Solo Sikoa will just hot shot this back on the next stateside SmackDown.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of a short run because they're at least teasing this idea of he's never won the big one. So ultimately, Zayn's going to be in the hunt here, I think, in this upcoming year at least.
Yeah, and maybe in order to go after that, you have to give up the title or whatever.
Something like that. Right now. No, it's not going to be a forever run.
There's no other real news because I'm not talking ratings. So let's get to the lazy river of wrestling criticism. There was a lot of wrestling, some of which we even forgot. Whatever we had time for. I watched Forbidden Door. I watched Heat Wave.
I tried with both shows, Jeff. They're just so
the main event on Heat Wave. The main event on Heat Wave was really good. But I just don't know what to do with Javon Evans after this. It's just Forbidden Door I had issues with. Because it was good wrestling. Yeah, sure. And if you listen to the commentary, oh man, really good wrestling on this show, really good wrestling on this show, really good wrestling on this show. And I'm sitting there seething. Because in your main event is a 10-man cluster in a cage, and people are doing spots, and yes, the set pieces were great, but this entire match was built on the precipice of Will Ospreay has a bad neck. And we're having these promos about Will Ospreay's going to need to leave and get surgery. Will Ospreay's going to need to leave and get surgery. The video before the match, Will Ospreay, there's his girlfriend crying, all this other stuff. Will Ospreay's going to get surgery. There was not a single part of the ring psychology in terms of the story of this match.
This should have been a protect the king psychology for the baby face.
You.
I know.
This should have been all those heels are going after that dude's neck, and you guys have to stop it.
Yes, and it keeps going up to each one of the four valiant knights to defend the king here. And he's not yet.
I was watching this going, what was the point of that story then? Oh, but the point is we're going to do a beatdown after the match to try. Oh, this is sickening. Oh, they told us he was leaving. Good thing he has a neck surgery scheduled.
Right, yeah, I know.
Feel sorry for it. And then
the time to tell that story is during the match, not after. Because, good, he got through the match.
If you don't tell us he's going out for surgery, then it kind of resonates a little better. But instead, that's been the whole narrative.
No, not a little better. It makes a hell of a lot more sense where you don't tell us they're going out for surgery. He wins, and apparently you don't want to do the protect the king story. So you have him win the match, and then afterwards you do an injury angle. Boy. And
then on Wednesday, we get to Dynamite. And we start with FTR and Cope and Christian. We don't get any solemn tones of, Will Ospreay is really, really hurt right now. We don't get any baby faces commenting it at the top of the show. No, we have to wait 45 minutes for Hangman to come out. And he's not mad that both Swerve and Ospreay were taken out, the two guys who helped him. No, he's not Dusty Rhodes looking to avenge his friends. He's not going to do the Wyatt vengeance ride as the Hangman. I got a list of all you Death Riders and the Bucks, and I'm going to take each and every one of you out, and hell's coming with me. No. Get well soon, Will. We're pulling for you.
Thoughts and prayers.
Well, no, I won't go that far, especially this week. Um,
Well, I mean, here's the thing with
Sorry, I'm
thought.
not going to mock dead kids. I'm just not, Chris.
That's
I'm
not.
putting the
It's not.
kibosh on
No,
it.
no. Hold on. Thoughts and prayers is not mocking dead kids. It's mocking the hollow sentiments towards dead kids.
They
It's
were killed for
mocking.
praying.
It's mocking people. When people say thoughts and prayers, Jeff. It's mocking people who pretend to have sympathy or empathy, but don't actually reflect that in their actions. So they say things like, "I'm thinking of you," but don't do a single thing. It's the person who you're in a hospital and they say, "Wish, I hope you get well." Or no, I heard you were doing bad. Hope you're doing okay. It's not the same thing as actually going in and giving someone a phone call in a hospital room. So no, there's a big performative difference.
Nevertheless,
It's not some rib on people praying, Jeff. It's a rib on a hollow sentiment that has become mimetic in our culture for almost 20 years. Sorry about the gun tragedy this week. Hope we do something about guns one of these days.
nevertheless, point about Hangman stands. I was like, there's nothing that matters to anybody on this show except getting to the next match to build, and it's a problem in WWE I've had for years where it's I'm coming out to cut the promo. Okay, here comes the next guy. We're not building challenger. We're just the first person to interrupt somebody. That's your next match. That's how we move on this, and it's driving me nuts on all these brands that it's just, oh, look, here's Ricky Saints walking out on Obafemi's promo. I guess he's next. Okay.
Well, I'm stepping on the jock of Javon going into this title match. Like,
yes,
let the ship breathe. Like, this was supposed to be this big question of can Javon break through? And I think Saints is nipping at the heels promo works if he actually breaks through on Oba, and then you have Saints turn heel right out the chute. He comes out, handshakes, and then immediately hits him with what the Rochambeau or whatever the name of his current finisher is.
I think it's still the Rochambeau.
Yeah, right.
Wrong.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I don't remember. But like when you step on Javon so hard, and I want to circle back to just Javon and Oba because I thought this was a really great match for both of them. Arguably both of their best matches. I thought Oba's selling was awesome. He did a great job selling Giant getting cut down. Those super kicks later on when he got rocked by him and he actually went down and looked dazzled. That was a great bit of business. It's just a shame that we didn't have Javon break through. We didn't have Javon finally or keep the story focused in on Oba and Javon. Like I think maybe the move here is you do Rocky where Oba cheats to win, that Oba needs to take a shortcut, that Javon's actually hacking down the Giant. And Oba, if you want Oba to retain, Oba shortcuts. And then that sets up who's the clear heel and who's the clear baby face going into the Ricky Saints feud.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm just trying to ponder whether or not it should be a shortcut or something that's perceived as bad sportsmanship, but not a sports cut, not a shortcut like a punch or something like that.
He's been so OP in terms of presentation as either he's intermittently a heel and a baby face as he needs. Every single time he never shows ass. He always comes off strong. You wouldn't think of this with Obafemi for any number of reasons, but he's at Hogan levels of protected booking right now, where they don't let him show ass. He doesn't get blind. I mean, even when like Dark State tries to jump him, he usually fights them off. Like he doesn't get laid out or nothing. Not nothing, not never. And so him having a shortcut against Javon absolutely is that chip in the armor that we've been looking for. See how I updated that term? You like that?
Sure.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, gonna pounce on me for Mr. Language Police over here.
No,
5 minutes ago. Now all of a sudden, I'm out here updating the language, fixing the vernacular. You're like, F it, don't care, couldn't give a shit. Go back to the old term. It was fine.
No,
yeah.
I'm sitting here. It's as if I'm scripted by wrestling right now, where I'm just having no emotional connection to anything. I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool. I
wanted to buy into it so bad, and
I did too.
Javon's been killing it out there. That's the thing that really sucks. I don't think this is a failure of the performer on his front. If anything, and like again. Take it from one of his biggest critics on this network, perhaps on the air. I think this guy's really effing grown. And if you can't see that growth, then you're just like a hater at this point. Like he did stink. He was marble mouth and he was sloppy and noodly when he came in. It was just like, wow, look, I can jump off of shit. Now he is a package, not a complete package, but a more complete package. Absolutely.
No, I agree with you. I know wrestling fans. I know WWE fans. I know.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you. They're horrible.
Well, it's not that. It's they're going to look at him and go, okay, he's the jumping high guy. But they've already done the RKO on him. You know, it's one of those things where you just kind of go, can he be the guy? But
can I talk about coverage bias here too? Javon Evans, right? If he was in AEW right now, we would have to be giving him at least Speedball Mike Bayley levels of commentary. And is he a breakthrough guy? Why is he? Blah, blah, blah. Like AEW's littered with guys who are good, but almost not quite as talented as Javon Evans, and definitely aren't growing at Evans's rate, and also are about 5 to 6 years older than Evans. He really is an AEW fans wrestler.
I think Brian Alvarez had a really, really good point in reviewing Dynamite and then also compared to Heatwave, because both of those featured big muscular dude throws wiry athletic guy through a table over the ring. And he goes, with Javon, it killed him. It basically was Oba goes out there, grabs him, throws him back in the ring, does a powerbomb 1, 2, 3. With Darby, it was cut to commercial, and then he gets to grab a headlock on Claudio afterwards. And I thought about it.
They at least let it breathe a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. But I thought about that. I go, yeah, big moves are just transition spots to get the chant cheering, this is wrestling, we want tables, until the first kick out of the finisher and stuff.
Oh, Jeff, here's a fun question. When's the last time you've seen anybody sell the ribs on AEW television?
On the next show or just for that match?
Either.
No, that's true because
I'll give you either, whichever one's easier.
Rocky Romero comes in there with a baton, hits Mike Bayley in the ribs. Boom, he goes down. But 30 seconds later, Mike Bayley is doing running flip dives at full speed, and I'm just like, okay. All
right, no, doesn't count. You have to give me something.
No, I know that.
Akin to a Diamond Dallas Page, 1997, 1998, I have injured ribs angle match.
No, we don't get that anymore because of the start. Other than Kenny and the and the ribs at one time.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Kenny and the diverticulitis was sold a bit. All right, there we go.
It was sold ridiculously.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He coughed up 4 gallons of blood. It was like the.
Now you're making me sorry for wanting things sold. No. I'm sorry. No. I am the asshole here.
No, you don't need to do that, but you also don't need to do the puking gag from Family Guy either. It's I'll let you go before I get into Clash in Paris.
Oh, Okay. Hangman Adam Page and MJF at AEW's special live event thing. Um, I hate
Victory lap time.
I hate that I was right about this, but God, is there any more damning critique than the preview of the match that I gave last week? Basically forecasting, no, okay, I didn't have the foot on the rope for 5.5 minutes spot written in there because
Pause. They screwed that up though.
Oh, it's no, it's just, I'm about to pounce on that shit.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's go to old foot on the rope Magoo. What a great moment in professional wrestling. Now, that referee, Paul Turner, feels the need to be really in this match. He wants to win that Academy Award for best.
Whoa! I think it was Bryce
Remsburg. He wants to win that Academy Award for best professional wrestling referee in a major motion picture. So we've always got to incorporate an extended Bryce Remsburg spot because everybody loves a good Bryce Remsburg spot. So Adam Page, gets laid out, gets pinned. He has his foot on the ropes. Then we get to Mark Briscoe coming in, and the referee turns around and then sees Page's foot on the ropes, but has not rendered his decision yet. Well, I'm sorry, but how does the referee have any way of knowing that his foot did not end up on the ropes sometime between when he turned his back to Adam Page to look at what was going on at the entryway and when he turned back around to look at Adam Page? If he didn't catch it the first time, why is he thinking, oh, now I'm seeing reality fully for the first time when I turn around here? The only thing that would possibly guide that is, oh, MJF's a dick. But that's not actually a good babyface referee reason for him to reverse a decision.
Right. And he counted three.
And he's the one who counted three. So Remsburg needs to look like this hero. Inexplicably, I do not understand. TNA used to do this shit all the time. It would drive me insane. These like hero referee spots. Who are these for? Who has been yearning in the commentary for a referee to come in after all these years and finally set shit right? That in this land of chaos and strife, in this time of turmoil, what we need is a voice of reason in a striped shirt to come down and call this thing down the middle the way our Lord and Savior, that guy Bill Alfonso, used to do. Those many years ago, nearly 30 years ago, 2 generations now, we have been Sans, the man who calls it right down the middle. But what if he rode in from the sunset to set things right, to be a light in the darkness? Who has been saying that, Jeff? No one. Not now, not never. You have never heard this rant on any show from any fan, not on Twitter, not on Blue Sky, not on Elon Musk's X, Y, or Z. And no one ever will, because no one wants a hero referee. They want limited ref spots. They want a ref bump. They want a ref going, nah, it's BS, getting the call right. And then they want the ref to get out of the way because the ref is not part of the story. And as we said last week, the ending is in the beginning, and the referee necessarily can never be in the beginning. And no one wants professional wrestling angles where backstage MJF and Adam Page have a chat with Bryce Remsburg. And MJF's like, Bryce Remsburg, you're stupid and you're bald. And I don't like you. And then Bryce Remsburg's like, I'm gonna remember that. And then during the match, now finally he gets his comeuppance and we're all pleased. This is not what anyone ever has watched professional wrestling for. And I think it's just self-indulgence of these referee performers to insist, whether it's Aubrey Edwards, Bryce Remsburg, the TNA guys before them, to insist that the spotlight and the show stops and focuses in on the dude or dudette in stripes, and no one cares.
the 3 count spot where he's spinning on his knees was preposterous. But even more preposterous was he's knocked out cold, and MJF goes to put on the ring, and this guy's been out for a bit. But then all of a sudden he pops up right at the moment
Oh, thank God for that. A light in the darkness.
I was just like, okay, no, whatever.
The referee's shirt symbolizes light and shadow, Jeff.
Does it?
Yes, it's a sacred testament to the scripture of professional wrestling.
All right, calm down there for a second while I say the other point I was trying to make here.
No, you know the other thing I hated too is the no. Seriously though, I also hate the endless sequence of roll-ups. Like, we're in the middle of this match and we're going to go for sunset. One, two, which is also just to get the referee over because of his incredible ability to slap the canvas with his hand. Because it's not actually like a real beat in the match. And then when it goes from 2 down to 1, I think it's even more stupid because it's like, why are both of these guys still trying to get pins when they realize that the other guy's stamina is clearly sufficiently at a point where you're not going to get a 3 count. The only redeeming factor of that was that it finished off into a dead eye. Okay, not bad, but that could have been half the time and gotten to that dead eye that much faster and gone for a legitimate near fall.
Right. Before we moved on to
yours, Jeff.
Well, the point I was trying to actually get to that I didn't was that
it's tough to be interrupted when you got a good point to get into, huh? And then all of a sudden someone comes in with a power rant and they hit you.
Well, it's rare.
I know.
They had to fix the end of this match on promos on Wednesday. They had to retcon it, Chris, because the Mark Briscoe spot had nothing to do with the finish. So then all of a sudden,
the finish had nothing to do with the story.
Exactly, that too.
Yeah.
I hated that Adam Page doinked him with the contract before hitting the thing.
Yes, and then MJF didn't even redeem the contract at the end of it. Like that is getting hit with the butt of Chekhov's gun. That you don't get.
Yeah. I'll give one good. I really liked the fact that they blue balled us in Nigel versus Zack Sabre Jr. on the Daniel Garcia turn, but they need to make this turn and hurry the hell up with it because nobody's gonna care either way.
Well, I mean that gets into like, what is the point of Moxley and the Death Riders continuing on as a faction at this point? Because
that's the other thing is they should in that cage spot at the end where it's Moxley and Claudio taking out Will Ospreay. It shouldn't have been them. It should have been the Callis family coming in and taking out Will Ospreay.
This is the narrative focus of this company right now, insofar as they have one. I constantly see Don Callis' stupid face on my television screen so much that if you ask me who the top heel in this company is, it's got to be him. So why wouldn't you have one of his people do it?
Yeah, and then you could actually have the Callis family at full strength eventually do it. Instead we're already turning guys within there because, Takeshita's upset. He's not the big guy, then it's Okada. Well, they haven't even acted as a faction yet. How can we have... Jeez.
They did give the kid in the helmet a cool new jacket. I think that's something.
Well, this is the thing is there were all these thought pieces after Ospreay and Swerve went down. Who's going to be the next babyface to bring up his level? I go, how about you just make Hangman the face of this promotion and push him to the moon?
Ospreay's push not working now that he is out with an injury angle, that the high-profile ace of the company presentation that he was supposed to be undergoing here failed to launch. The rocket ship did not successfully ignite. And we need to really examine why that was. Why did this thing not quite break orbit? It got off the ground, let's say. and
Because he
got it
never wanted him to have the top
right.
title when he
No,
came
but
in.
that's the question that I think the commentary should be not Excalibur and those guys, but
Right,
us.
us.
Like that should be the narrative. It's
Yes.
going back to the Javon Evans thing. I feel like I've turned into Mr. Media criticism here today. I know how you feel about those guys, but like, no, I think that this is a legitimate question that people need to be asking in terms of framing, because that's the more correct frame of that rather than who's going to be the next top baby face. I mean, if you're asking me who's going to be the next Osprey level star, I don't know, any number one of guys for like about a month and a half, and then you'll move on to someone else for the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, and in focus of that, Hangman should be saving Kenny, not Kenny saving Hangman.
Yeah, how lame was that? I this is a reunion that no one's been clamoring for, and like kind of came out of nowhere, and like once again, to your point, makes Hangman look weak.
Yeah, well, people are clamoring for it, but it's not a. It's the most vocal message board types and things like that. It was just one of those things where I just think, you know what? Let's make Hangman special. Let's not put him on every week, cutting terrible. Let's just make him a badass kicker, the ass kicking cowboy, not the millennial. My feelings cowboy, and have him come out and save his boy Kenny from Don Callis, and then he can run through the entire Callis family one by one, and then maybe in losing the title, or in losing the title match, then you get the friction between Okada and Takeshita, and that's how it comes about. But instead, no, I'm the ace of this family. No, I'm the ace of and we've never even seen them be a badass unit for me to care about. We're not gonna, and it's just gonna be disappointment for me that I'm never gonna see a dominant heel faction running wild in AEW because everybody's in their feelings, and I'm just mad.
And you're never gonna let Adam Page be Dusty Rhodes, like just the soul of this company and the soul of the fan base, and like the voice of truth and the voice of reason. Like you have Don Callis out there as the voice of lies. Adam Page should be the, no BS truth telling guy who comes out there and even sometimes says hard truths. This sucked or whatever. He calls them as he sees them, always shoots straight with the people. But like that involves characterization and storytelling and an emphasis on characterization and storytelling. That of course pays dividends in your matches. But you could also just do like 3 vertical suplexes that look really good instead of that.
And then do the Eddie Guerrero shimmy. Yeah.
Oh God. Everyone loves the 3 amigos. Eddie Guerrero is a great wrestler.
He was. I don't think
a lot of people liked Eddie Guerrero.
I liked Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, he had a big Latino fan base too. They don't tell you that.
I'm just so sick of it. You said, I think before the show that you didn't like Raw, but there was one line that had me in stitches, and that's Xavier Woods talking about his favorite grieving hat.
Yes. No,
I love the new
Woods and Coffee are really funny as heels.
Are really good.
No, they are the new Edge and Christian, like in terms of like comedy in wrestling for me. Like where Edge and Christian have gone totally stale, Kofi and Xavier have absolutely picked it up, and a lot of that's around Xavier's comedic sensibilities, which are very much dialed into the same wavelength as mine. But no, he's really funny. It's a lot of this is LA Knight is good and bad at the same time. He's extraordinarily charismatic. I think he's a good delivery. I think this character stinks. I think the outfit is weird and douchey and heelish, and like does not allow him to seem like a normal person who connects with fans. And I also think that the dynamic between him and Heyman is just not connecting. They're not fighting over real shit yet. A lot of times it feels like Knight is not allowed to go out there and do a CM Punk pipe bomby sort of thing, which he needs to be able to do in order to make this LA Knight, I'm the big shot, I'm the main event sort of guy work. for me. He's always not quite doing catchphrases, but not really allowed to get substantially beyond those catchphrases in a
Right.
meaningful way.
Yeah, he's not. He's almost talking past guys with the catchphrases a
Yeah.
little bit. I get you. I feel you. Before we do, let's end with Clash in Paris. Let's get NXT and anything else you wanted to say out of the way, because I only had one other thing for that. If you had anything.
Yeah, no. Look, I continue to love the on-screen chemistry of Ethan Page and Chelsea Green, but like,
yes,
that's no surprise because they're both fantastic in my estimations. I think they're both very funny. I think they're both very talented in the ring. Like they're good wrestlers. They're good comedic talents. They're both underutilized, and you can see that the fans at any given moment are absolutely willing to turn on both these two and get behind it. And they are kind of one of the only real highlights. I am so baffled by Kalani Jordan and Blake Monroe. Like, we were turning Kalani for months. And
they
then
just turned her back. They've just turned her back. That's it.
And then we just turned her back. And then, like, the rest of this show, it's kind of like, it really is like it's Chelsea Green and Ethan Page save NXT right now. It's not a great show, but God, if Green and the Secret Hervis and Ethan Page weren't on this show right now, it'd be dying deaths in a lot of these segments.
I wanted to give some love to the Secret Hervis because they do very subtle stuff, and also Alba Fire makes people look like $1,000,000 when she's in the ring. She is so good. I did sort of enjoy the Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair versus Izzy Dame and
Tatum.
Dolls. Tatum
Izzy and Tatum are both good character actors, and this really works in this sort of like narcissist borderline sort of dynamic that they've.
And Kendall's really getting it. Or starting to get
she's
there.
legit. I know. Like, give Kendall and Tatum an actual like 10-minute match. Let them work.
Yeah, no, those two together were really good too.
Yeah,
and
let them work.
Ren's good character work. She's decent in the ring, but she's not. She's
like
never.
Kendall and Tatum are like legit good.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's almost like two good wrestlers and two good characters, but they're both on the opposite teams type of a thing. It was so, it was there because Ren is just an amazing flake. I watch the stuff that she does. It's like she has she has good theater instincts as opposed to say like Becky Lynch at times. And then, Kendall just needs promo and personality, and she'll get it. I mean, I thought she was perfect for the Charlie, for the No Quarter Catch crew, but that thing's. I don't want to see that rebuilt now. I don't want to see new people
either. I don't.
It's like Chase U. I don't want to see that rebuilt either. It was good as it was. You destroyed it. I'm ready to move on now.
You don't need to rebuild it. You could just keep, as we talked about before, you could just keep Dempsey and Sinclair as like weird odd couple friends, like an odd platonic couple. It totally, they absolutely have great on-screen platonic couple chemistry. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun to watch those two interact. Dempsey's always just a real good, like, sad pout face mug. He's got that good long face that he always pulls. And I don't think it needs to go beyond that or anything. But I will say, Izzy and Tatum, as I was watching it, it was not an immediate comp, especially because anything on NXT is pretty low profile to me these days. But they actually kind of throw up a little bit of like Midnight Express energy, with Tatum being the Bobby Eaton of the group and Izzy being more like the Stan Lane. Like, you have Bobby, the more like earnest worker who has to go in and really work most of the match. And then you have Stan, who comes in and kind of does some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked that they had matching gear and that it wasn't black for once. Thank God.
And I also like the sellout spot at the end. As I said, I think the narcissist borderline dynamic that those two have going on right now is really fun.
So we'll end it with a preview of Clash in Paris, a B pay-per-view if there ever was one. There there were 5 matches going into SmackDown, and the rumor was, oh, they're going to announce Drew versus Randy Orton.
Woo!
Nope, they did not.
Ah!
They announced instead, we're getting the Wyatt Six versus Street Profits.
Thank God. You know who are white hot right now?
The Wyatt Six.
Yes, Joe Gacy and the other guy. Everyone loves them. And they have the girl too, and Bray Wyatt's brother. I mean, these guys have a connection with the fans. That's
and they're heckling Mellow Don't Miz.
I mean, here's the thing: working with the Miz always gets you to that next level.
This show's gonna
Damian Sandow.
Yes. now doing acting out here. The show will over deliver because the crowd's gonna be hot. It's gonna be one of those because like that SmackDown crowd for today's show was just amazing in so many ways. But yeah, the Wyatt Six, you might remember they won the tag team titles at SummerSlam.
This is like getting over delivered on a Little Caesars pizza, though, Jeff. Like, how good is it going to be?
They're going to lose these titles to the Street Profits. I can almost guarantee you that. I think this is a short run where they never defended the tag titles.
Yeah.
God.
Over delivering on a Little Caesars pizza, my man.
Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella in a battle of Becky saying dumb things to Nikki about who she dated 10 years ago and then trashing Ozzy Osbourne.
These two suck.
Oh God.
At least they don't have to talk.
No, but I was under the opinion that they might shoehorn the Stephanie Vaquer title match in here, but that the challenger for her would be Becky Lynch, so she'd do double duty on this show. Because I think Becky Lynch is going to be the new top heel on Raw without Naomi there. Because you need someone that they trust for Rhea, Io, and Stephanie to all chase with that title.
And she's easy to slot in with Heyman and Seth Rollins and stuff,
yes,
too. You already have that built in, yeah.
I'm thinking Nikki Bella wins this. And then Becky Lynch becomes the contender for Stephanie, screws her out of the title, and then we have 3 people chasing her, with maybe Becky aligning with Asuka and Kairi as they go heel. So that's my choice. Who you got?
I'm gonna go Nikki transition title run. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm thinking that too.
Yeah.
Nikki really wants to bring back people from her era to come in and show these girls now that they could have done it if they had the chance. And I've been a heavy proponent of nope.
I mean, if you want to bring back Layla, I'd just like to see how she looks these days.
Layla would be fine, but the only person you could bring back right now that is under contract, other than Natty, over there on TNA, one Alicia Fox is partnering with Tessa Blanchard on matches under whatever name she's using. So you could do that. I wouldn't, but you could.
You could. I mean, I always thought Foxy got done dirty like 10 years ago. Yeah. She had a character, man. She really did.
Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed in a singles match. I had an interesting chat on a show that I did last night about this match because it seems a foregone conclusion Roman Reigns beats Bronson Reed. But I could see this being a complete Bronson Reed squash for a while. Because he's this character he's playing now, the tribal thief, the Shuafala, it's all fantastic.
Yeah, and I kind of think he almost needs to get that Owens versus John Cena style win to really make this feud work. He needs to get a pin over Roman once during this feud.
I could see him win with some chicanery. I could see him lose with Braun Breaker blowing it for him, too, after having a dominant match, and then Roman Reigns hits a Superman punch, 1, 2, 3. I think he needs a win, but again, the problem with the vision or whatever the hell they're calling this stable, is that they already started breaking it up 2 weeks after they formed it. And it's just, it annoys me so much. I want to see the rise of an evil group and see them work together before you destroy them. That way,
especially with this group, like unit cohesion going into the Rumble would be awesome. You have the Vision standing ground during the Rumble and just clearing everyone out. Nothing would get the Braun team over. Like them standing back to back, an absolute unified front, shrugging off every single guy trying to come to the ring for 20 competitors. And they don't start getting overwhelmed until the final 10.
Sheamus versus Rusev, good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. This will be fun. Sheamus's late stage brawling thing, I love. This might turn into the Jeff Hardy set piece that they had that one time. You remember when they rented out a bar and basically let them destroy it?
Yes.
For a while?
Yes.
Who do you have winning?
And you remember they did that because Jeff Hardy has a drinking problem.
Yes, I remember that.
Right. He got over it though. I think
they made him do a piss test as part of this. As part of that program.
Hey. Look, here's the thing. You're trying to make me feel bad about Jeff Hardy being publicly humiliated for his drinking and driving. You are selling ice to denizens of the far Arctic North right now. You are not, you got no purchase here.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to pity Jeff Hardy. He deserves more shame, not less. Don't cry for this guy. I'm going to go with Rusev. Sheamus has slowed down a smidge for me. I love brawling Sheamus like 2 years ago. Since he's gotten back from this last round, he's a little less athletic. You can see the decline setting in now.
I think Rusev needs to win. I think it's possible he's being set up to either be the last match for John Cena or one of the ones in between, say a Drew McIntyre and whoever Brock Lesnar and whoever the last person is. And they've done nothing. I mean, he's getting very close to being in Aleister Black, Andrade territory as guys they brought back and then, nothing. So I think he needs the win here. Fatal 4-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. Is there any doubt? All three babyfaces are going to look stupid. But I think how they do this is CM Punk and LA Knight eventually brawl to the back, and that becomes a one-on-one, and then Seth Rollins beats Jey.
Yeah, Seth is winning.
Yeah. And then, also on SmackDown, they at least opened with this, and it was I thought it was a hell of a segment. John Cena versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul comes out and goes, I'm not going to speak French because I'm American. He's doing the entire thing. And then eventually both Cena and Logan Paul start cutting promos in French, which is kind of cool. Cena kind of phoning it in with the babyface part of his promo here, but Logan Paul just absolutely ridiculously obnoxious. And I'm here for it. He's going to do a lot of fun things. And the old man's going to take it because he sees something in the kid. But eventually, we're going to see plotting John Cena and his offense get one over on Logan Paul and win. I'm just fascinated by how much damage Cena is willing to take for Logan Paul, and will it put him out for the rest of this retirement tour? This is a man with a television show that's on, Chris.
Right. I guess the interesting question with John Cena in any of these matches is the non-zero potential that he gets injured mid-match, which, at his age, not doing this as regularly, blah, blah, blah.
Well, the funny part would be WWE then adds injury time onto his contract.
You laugh, Jeff?
I know.
Yeah, but they would absolutely negotiate for more time. They would avoid looking ugly, like forcing John Cena to keep wrestling, but they absolutely would go to him and ask if he'll extend dates on the other side of his injuries. They would. Totally. Yeah, I mean, buddy, this is the cash cow. It's drying up. The golden goose is getting old, and we are going to get every last egg out of this effort.
At least he's not a heel anymore. But is there any situation you could see where Logan Paul possibly wins this?
No. See, everything now is going to be John Cena feel-good mojo.
This is a predictable pay-per-view for the most part, but the crowd might make it better. That's what's going to happen. It goes on. It's on in Europe, so it's going to be on in the afternoon. You can watch it and have the rest of your evening afterwards. That's the most enjoyable part. Now, Vader Club, unless you have something else you want to bring up that we missed?
No, sir.
It has been 10 years this week since Brooklyn 2. You saw on Sunday, if you're paying attention to social media, both Sasha and Bayley were in Europe, and they FaceTimed one another. And if eyes are the windows to the soul, Bayley's miserable right now. I know she's putting on a good, and look, she's paid very well and other things. But I asked Chris to watch from the opening promo and then the match through the end, because I think, and I said this at the time, and I've said this quite often, I find that entire package to be perfect. From beginning to horsewomen putting Bayley on her shoulders and the hug and whatnot. But it occurred to me watching that promo as well. This is currently the Bayley character in all the vignettes now, with her being, going crazy or whatnot. If you watch that promo, all the beefs about her character from wrestling commentariat are in there about being a stupid little girl, et cetera, that won't get over. And all the complaints now about all these women who have surpassed her and who were brought up on the main roster. I howled because I forgot that they had brought up Dana Brooke before they brought up Bayley onto the main roster. But that makes sense because her debut was at that Battleground show where she was Sasha's tag partner against Dana Brooke and Charlotte. But, it was Alexa Bliss, Dana Brooke, and Eva Marie who were all on the main roster.
Eva Marie was the most egregious of that era. She just could not wrestle, and they kept trying with her 1,000 different ways.
Brother, she wasn't there for wrestling.
But brother, even what she was there for, I've seen better. I've seen better at that act too. Let me tell you about Dawn Marie.
This match is absolutely spectacular, and and the reason you have women's wrestling at the level it is right now is because of them. Look, I will grant you that yes, all Japan had great women in the early 90s. And yes, Stardom is around. And yes, there were women who could wrestle in TNA, like Gail Kim and Awesome Kong having those great matches and whatnot. But them having this match helped everybody. It's the tide that raised all boats. I love the story of the match with the hand and just unwrapping and crushing it. Sasha is being absolutely brutal here. And going after the hand and trying to weaken it. Bayley looks like she can't overcome again and eventually gets it and fires up. Does that ridiculous Poison Rana off there that looks like that. This is the thing the reason why Dave gave it 4 3/4 stars as it not being perfect, but has since given like Will Ospreay Spot Fest 6.5 stars and whatnot because he likes Will. And this is also Dave in his Charlotte's better than Sasha phase, so he didn't want to give anybody else higher ratings than Charlotte.
I think Bayley's lack of like super athleticism absolutely serves the character. It's like the fact that all of her offense is not quite explosive, that like everything looks a little more labored or whatever. It works for her because that's who she is. Like, and especially you have the Dusty Rhodes arm mat. That
he had just passed away at the
right.
time,
I know, but that's so Dusty. Like in a lot of ways, is that the offense looks a little bit labored, and it's not this super fluid super. I mean, she's still doing cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like the
and she is still super athletic. Her ab
Yes.
game at this point is
I'm not saying
madness.
she's not.
Oh, I know. I wasn't saying
really,
that.
I know. For the
that.
listeners, more. I'm trying to tailor this. I'm like, I'm not saying she's like a sloppy, whatever. No, I'm saying that like when she goes for the tree of woe springboard elbow, awesome spot. Like that's just like a mid-match spot, but that one just popped me. I'm like, oh, I love that. People should do that more often. Like she doesn't, seem. She's not Javon Evans bouncing with crazy vert. It's not with crazy speed. It's all, it's Tim Duncan good fundamentals style of wrestling. Right? Like it's nothing flashy. It's not Amari Stoudemire.
Oddly enough, the Tim Duncan comparison, it tracks a little better than I think you even realize, because like she was the one who was never speaking up. Everybody seemed to like her, but she's not. But Tim Duncan, when you compare him to Shaq gets all the press, and it's like you look now
and fine with that. He's got all the rings.
Yes, he has all the rings. I got rings too. Thank you, Shaq.
Yeah.
Which you remind everybody of only next to Charles Barkley.
But you weren't a star and a teacher at the same time like Tim.
Yeah, and it amazes me because the other three horsewomen by far are bigger stars on certain levels. And Bayley, I still say she is possibly the star who they burned the most money not getting. Because all you had to do was bring her in as that superstar, female John Cena, let her win. And they did. They introduced her on that Battleground B pay-per-view because nobody would know who she was. Waited another couple months while making her lose to Asuka a few times. And do you remember her debut on Raw? How she was brought in?
Bayley?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Was it with all... It was with all the wacky arms-filling inflatable tube men, right?
They had that, but it was when Mick Foley was like doing a book plug. And so they had Mick Foley introduce Bayley because they were afraid nobody would know who she was. And then they had her in the program with Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss beat her in San Jose with a kendo stick because Bayley couldn't bring herself to hit in a no-holds-barred match.
That's right. It was a no-holds-barred match, and she couldn't use a weapon
or a street fight or whatever. Yeah,
it was like a no DQ situation.
Yes, and she's never been able to really recover. She's had good runs here, but she's never gotten like the other three horsewomen got the WrestleMania big time slot, at least for one night. Like, don't get me wrong, Bayley's match with Io was okay. But it was a story match. It wasn't. Sasha and Bianca is a legendary match. It's a match that stole WrestleMania. Becky Becky main evented WrestleMania along with Charlotte, who got shoehorned in there. But I mean, Charlotte's never needed help because she was a Flair and she had people in the back willing to push her. But here's Bayley, 10 or 11 years.
Sasha always had the connection to Snoop Dogg to fall back on, which definitely helped. It definitely made her more relevant than the average talent.
And she also had her character down. Now, it hasn't.
Truth. That I know. It was she had it down 10 years ago, and now it feels like there's not been growth. And if anything, like watching this iteration,
it's recessed.
It's recessed, right? No, it feels like it's in a way like the way she's doing stuff now feels like somebody compensating for a diminishment of skills in just wearing more clothing. Like you can't do the thing anymore. So now you have like the fabulous suit that's like, Mr. Novin, bring it out and everything, but I can't do the things I used to do.
Her entire promo on Wednesday was about getting to do the CEO dance. That was it. And you're just like, all right. She's this character and that's it, and it's a one-note character, and the note's fine, but it's a little bit repetitive.
That note is ultimately just the boss. But
yes,
a more
Yes.
boring version of the boss. It's
Yes.
used IP. It's stale and used IP that is from a decade ago. It's like a flock of seagulls haircut in
But it's
1992.
but it's great on this video.
Whoa!
That's the thing.
You mean 10 years ago? Yes, Jeff.
Yes. Yes.
In 1980, flock of seagulls was a new and hip thing. I'm talking about 1992.
No, but I'm saying what the reason why we thought she was going to be so great on the stick was because she was so great on that promo where she goes, the difference between us, and you just hear the clicking of the ring against the belt, and it, you're just like, but Bayley's the only one flailing right now. I mean, Charlotte's always gonna be, I'm the queen, woo, and she's gonna be, top 2 women on whatever brand she's on.
I think Sasha's flailing, but she's not failing.
Their mistake was not building the entire company around her when she signed. I'm serious about that.
I mean, seriously, like that. It's like her and Osprey. That was so perfect, right? You have a heel woman and you have a babyface male to be the access to build your company around, both of whom are high profile. So you have the heel axis and the babyface axis covered, the male and the female axis covered at high profiles, and you build the universe around those two light and shadow elements. It was so simple.
And I thought Bayley was a simple character. You bring her in, she's just the really good person who little girls can root for and be a hero for people, and Vince McMahon's cynicism and other people's cynicism, no. We can't have full good people anymore. They have to be aggression. Oh, you're stupid if you just don't take what you want. Friends are bad. It's just like, and then the commentary, she looks like a teenager with the side ponytail. She'll eventually get out of it, guys. It's not going to be a permanent thing necessarily, okay? It's not going to be, what was the name of the character that William Regal brought in? Eugene. It's not going to be a Eugene situation where she has stunted growth and she thinks she's 13. Like, they could have brought her in as post Brooklyn 2 Bayley, the one with the white cape and everything, looking like a champion. She's overcome all her adversities, and now she's great. You either could have redone the story of Bayley being the perennial underdog or the badass champ. Instead, I'm nervous about being on Raw, and Alexa Bliss is going to come in and just absolutely cuck me. I just was like, what are we doing here?
I mean, we know Vince doesn't like underdog stories. I mean, this is a man who looked at the Bible and thought that God could have been booked a little bit stronger.
Oh, come on. Don't take my joke and then blow the punchline.
No, I'm not going with your tired David and Goliath joke. You've done that one 1,000 times. I made a new joke.
Okay.
It's time for new material, Jeff.
Well.
Yours starts with a 2.
Uh-huh. And I didn't mind the breaking a kayfabe at the end. I thought it was a nice moment.
I think all of this just worked good. It gets back to the wanting to feel something thing in wrestling that is so largely absent. And like this, whenever we like tie more back to like NXT vibes from like 10 years ago or New Japan vibes from 10 years ago, it's not like when I'm watching this stuff, I'm going back to this necessarily super happy time in my life. Like, it's not getting nostalgia effects from like vibes like, oh man, it was better to be younger. Blah, 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 blah. It's not that for me. It's decidedly not that for me. It's just that, like, honestly, when I would escape from that time period in life and pop this stuff on, this let me get out of what I was doing. I didn't feel dumber for having watched an episode of NXT. I was looking forward to watching it or captioning it. And you know, like Lucha Underground to a lesser extent, but New Japan, of course, during the G1 and those Wrestle Kingdoms and stuff, the Okada match that we talked about last week. Watching that stuff made me feel something and gave me that thing that I like in wrestling that is beyond merely suplexes and poison ranas. It's the emotion. This is fake. These people are doing fake stuff. What makes it real is how I feel about it.
I may have been a bit weepy after this match. I'll admit, because I think they knew the pressure was on. I was talking to a lot more people in NXT at this time. Um, they knew what they needed to do, go out there, and they upstaged the men. I think the main event from this was Kevin Owens and Finn Balor, who had a great match, but everything after this was. Did you see that Bayley Sasha match? My God.
And
Yeah.
I think the two lads, to their credit and grace, basically were willing to kind of step aside and let them have their flowers too. Like Owens and Balor are solid enough lads that, hey, dude, I mean, give it up. This is 10, 12 years ago. People's brains have been shifting on some of this stuff still. Some people have been catching up. And Balor and Owens were totally right there. So hats off to them.
Yeah, so that'll do it for Shake Them Ropes, unless you have any other comments about the match.
No.
Okay. You can follow me on X at CrapGame13. I do a show called The Dynamite Show on Fight Game Media about 20 minutes after 10 or 7, depending on if you're on the West Coast. Paul Fontaine and I go live with that week's Dynamite and thorough deconstruction of all things AEW. Drops in your podcatchers the next morning. I was on lovewrestling.ca on their Between Two Beards show yesterday, previewing this clash in Paris and also the NFL season. So if you like wonky NFL talk, go check that out. Yeah, and Shake Them Ropes at Shake Them Ropes on X as well. Chris has social media he'd like to tell you about.
My name's Chris Novenbrino. You can find me on Instagram at DOCTOR_NOV. That's Dr. Nove. I guess if you want me to go on your wrestling podcast and talk about stuff, or if you want to yell at me, by all means, I will take bookings, especially these days going into shoulder surgery and stuff. I don't have a ton going on right now, so it's not hard to slide that in. So if you've ever had the morbid curiosity of what would it be like if I experienced Chris Novembrino on the air for 45 minutes to 90 minutes, depending on the length of my podcast, finally you can answer that question, and I will probably say yes to any booking offers that are extended.
Instagram?
Dr. Nove, I said that. You just don't pay attention.
Sure.
No, right. No, I know.
I'm having a week where I didn't pay attention to a lot.
Yeah. Well, think about others.